Hello, my dear friends. How are each and every one of you? My love goes out to each and every one of you. A lot of you have worked so hard this year, and some of the things that you've attained is amazing. I was just looking at some pictures, and this lady's been detoxing for about 8-9 months now. Bile duct tumor. The medical doctor set her down and her family down and told her she'd be dead in less than 4 months or something like that, whether she liked it or not. He was so rude to them. Well, she's long past that. But the stuff she's still getting out is unbelievable at 9 months down the way. And when you take a look at this and you say, okay, here's a nice bowel program, you're going to go on this bowel program, and it's BE Irons or one of these bowel programs you go on. And that's going to restore and get you healthy and a bowel health and things like that. Look at the stuff people are getting out of them a year later. And this stuff is, and it came to me, and this is going to be fun stuff. Because I want to put this up, and we've got something like that up there, but not quite at this level. And I want to put it up on the website, and I want to put, why do we detox? Why do we just whistle Dixie? Is that just a name that we just use to whistle Dixie, you know, or what kind of detox you talking about? See, this is why you guys have spent the time to watch these videos, and you understand why the word detoxification. And I like to add to that regenerative detoxification to show you the fact that that's the doorway, the magic, beautiful doorway into the world of health and vitality. Because in the detoxification process, you are hydrating, you're moving yourself to a proper diet that your body is designed to eat from birth. The true Homo sapien diet is a frugivorish diet, sorry. And the feedback, matter of fact, oh, did I leave that here on the desk? Because, I think I left it in my truck. New evidence, I think I left it in my truck, but there was new evidence that fruit diets, now I don't think this has anything to do with us, fruit diets help to cure cancer or some kind of heading like that. And it's like, really? You know, but you have to understand what's going on here. When someone uses the word cancer and autoimmune and all of this, you guys immediately know that they're talking about the lymphatic system. They're talking about the waste disposal system, the sewer system of the human body, which is the main immune system. Wouldn't the main immune system be more in the sewer department where things can be removed? You don't want to mix sewage with blood, right? No one goes in the kitchen and leaves their dirties. You know, you don't do that. For obvious reasons. And the same thing is true in the human body, and that's all that's the difference is we get sewage removal 101 and they don't. And until they do, they're going to hurt a lot of people and kill a lot of people trying to treat what they don't understand. So the only time you want to treat yourself is if you need an antispasmodic or a hemostatic, a nerve to stop bleeding or something like that. Or you have spasms, seizures, things like that. Outside of that, you're in the process of regeneration, of reversing why the body is mutating, why the body's plaquing up, you know, and that for a learned science not to understand that's a little scary. When we have a whole YouTube channel that understands that pretty good. But I'm real proud of you guys, and some of you karmically are having to hang in there. You know, everybody's karma is different. And so some are able to overcome things. I've seen people get up with MS and walk in 5-6 months. Matter of fact, I had a paraplegic one time. He was walking within 4 months or something like that. Paraplegic. So, I mean, I've seen some fantastic results. I've seen things that just take a long time. I had a C3, C4 quad that took me 11 months before she could feel herself all over, before I totally got her reconnected. But that was a head-on car crash, complete spinal cord separation. So she was pretty plated up and things, but she had a lot of spasticity. But 11 months, it was a long haul, but 11 months. And I've talked about her before because the detox symptoms were horrid. She would cry 1 minute, cuss me out the next, kiss me the next. You know, it was a long road to Wellville, emotionally. But she did it. And that was you know, when I first met her, you could take a screwdriver and punch her anywhere and she'd never know where you were. Punch a hole right in her. When I was done with her, you could touch her, you're on my little toe on the left foot. Pretty good, huh? I talked to some specialists in the medical field, and they told me the next step, because I had no money for Stand-Aid, I was so poor then. I was supporting 2 quads and a lot of things. So I went bankrupt on that one, but it showed me, though, the power that we could do and the level that we could do. These 2 quads I had at the same time, and gee, that's on top of all my other loads, and it was amazing. I didn't have the money to get Stand-Aid devices. So this one physician said, get her on the floor. She said, I can't even believe you've done this. He said, get her on the floor and get her crawling again like a baby so they can connect mind and body again. And I'm going, wow. So a lot of fun stuff through the years. Fun stuff. A lot of healing. Wow. When I look back, I've had almost 50 years of healing. That's a long time. But, and we've healed up a lot of people. Holy crap. You guys yourself are cleaning up so many people worldwide. I'm just so impressed. As a group, look at the people as a group, all of us together, how many people we've helped in this world to have a better experience and a happier experience and a more wholesome self, more survival levels. Also, how many of you have reconnected to consciousness? That's the good one. The most important thing is you learning how to control thought, how to not allow thought to control your consciousness, your attention. Your attention is simply consciousness, is awareness. It's watching and learning as your bodies are creating. And we've talked a lot about stop thinking. Just learn to become the observer and play with that just for a day and watch the benefit of that. Watch how much you can see and learn. Spend some time alone. Never be afraid to be lonely. If you're afraid to be lonely, you're in trouble with the self. You don't know who you are. You don't, and generally you don't love yourself because you don't understand yourself. And so you don't like little bits and pieces of maybe your thoughts or your emotions and things like that. These are just bodies that you're using. It isn't you, so you can't get mad at you, yourself, because yourself is the individualized part of God that is experiencing everything. Just because you have different bodies at different times and you're going through different experiences at different times, okay. Just know that that's what it is. You're just playing different movies for yourself. Playing different roles as the grand actor on the stage of life, as they say, right? So you don't want to take things too seriously because nothing matters. Nothing matters. If you get ripped, and some of you guys that are growing spiritually, you're going to get ripped. I don't know of too many people that have become awake without getting a little ripped here and there. You know, you got to let go of things. Even the self. You know, some of these higher levels, you've got to let go of the little self to gain the bigger self. And so it's breaking that chain of thought, and you can't imagine what you've done for yourself. You've just freed yourself from these earthly chains. And still enjoy the earth, still enjoy that, but you freed yourself from it. And that's a big deal when you go to leave this planet. You can't imagine how big of a deal that is. So I'm proud of so many of you here. It's been a good year. We've had some good classes this year. You guys have been incredible. There's a lot of good learning going on. I love this protocol workshop because I saw the value in helping to get these protocols down, and just because it helps you to understand the body more. It also helps you understand the lymphatic system more. And iridology, the cat's meow, a diagnostic or an analytic tool that you can have to take a look inside. I find that those that are academically advanced just loves to tear things down. That it's something that they don't know or haven't learned to try to qualify their position of superiority. It's like ridiculous type of thing, because I have to laugh in the context of their maker. So, it's funny how we all can get trapped in those sort of things. Narcissism, the ego, and stuff like that, and it's like, practice humility, because it doesn't matter. No one's better than you, and you're not better than anybody else. Karmatically, people created what they've created. When you see the suffering, know that that's that journey that soul's on. And you have to be careful about too compassionate. That's where my problem is, because it'll pull you into their experiences, and you don't want to do that. You're on your own road and your own journey. You're responsible for no one but yourself. Now, as parents, you bring in these bodies for these souls. Remember, you might have a little baby there, but you might have a giant soul. So you don't want to, talk too much baby talk to your little babies, because that's just a body you're looking at. Who's running that body? That's what your mothers ought to try to talk to, is the individual that's using that body that you produced for them, and see what their journey is. Why are they here? Why did they pick your body that you created for them to express in this physical world? What are they here to learn? There's all kinds of higher things that man can turn his awareness to, besides fighting each other and competing against each other, and all the lower things of life, so to speak. But I'm going to read some of your questions here. I don't have a lot of time to make a real long video. I was going to do a couple of hours here for you, but just tell you how proud I am that you're taking this on and learning. Any help that you can give to anyone is a blessing. So remember that. Anytime you can extend your hand out and say, hi, I love you. Blessing. Mm-hmm. Yep. It turns you around from being the taker to the giver. And that's a huge turnaround. It's a turnaround in your life from being the taker to the giver. You become satisfied. You become whole. You become fearless. You become strong. And that's important for the survival. As you can see this world right now, the importance of each and every one of you becoming strong, becoming a woman warrior or a male warrior, in the sense of spirituality, in the sense of giving the light, love, and the golden light to all of life. As you gain a higher awareness, you give that higher awareness out. That's important. That's how it's done. Because the more awareness that you have, it infiltrates the worlds without you even realizing it. Because your mind is not limited to the brain. The brain is just a physical organism. It has nothing to do with the mind. That it's just a communication link to. The mental body, your mental body, is the largest body you have. And it far exceeds anything that you can imagine, since imagination is part of the mental apparatus of thought and creating in creation. So the physical body is the smallest part of you in your experience in creation. The physical body is basically a chemical body. I find it amazing that man has put so much attention on that body instead of getting it well and healthy and letting it work for him. It's amazing some of the things that come up about that. And yet your emotional body, the astral body, is far more grander, far more beautiful. Your causal and mental bodies are just unbelievable. The beauties of these worlds and the beauties of these levels. And each and every one of you have these within yourselves. So it's just an awakening to these. It's hard to awaken to your other levels when you're constantly in thought. When you're constantly thinking and desiring and planning, how do you have time to have freedom? How do you have time to understand who the desirer is? Who's the one doing all the thinking? Well, that's you. But wait a minute. Who's me? Well, you're that awareness in there, that thing that gives you the ability to perceive. Not to think, to perceive. But without consciousness, the mind is dead. Without consciousness, the emotional body is dead. And without consciousness, the physical body is dead. It is consciousness that is the light switch. It is the electricity that turns it all on. And each and every one of you are the consciousness that turns on those lights. That's simple. Just like health is simple. But it's been a good year. I thank you for this. Someone sent me this book. I can't wait to see who sent it to me and look at it. I just got it. All your cards. I got some beautiful cards here. Just thank you so much. I haven't had time to look at them. I've been so busy. A lot of neat things going on. Our online class, we had to do some changes there, so that's coming forth. So we're going to have an online school. That's exciting. And I'm going to keep expanding it and making it deeper and deeper and deeper, so you guys, you're walking out of these schools with full-bore awareness. And I've always said that when I have a school, I want you to be able to come out of that and help somebody right off and know why people suffer. Not come out of a school and go, well, I don't know what I would do, or still don't know what causes things. Pretty bad when you pay a few $100,000 for a degree and you still can't cure anybody and you still don't know what causes man's problems. That's a problem, and yet we have free videos to teach you. Interesting. But thank you all so much for watching our videos and working on yourselves and having some fun out of this. You want to make it fun. You want to have fun doing it. Some of it's not so fun. You get sick and pain and all that going on. But inside of yourself, you know that you're hydrating. You're pulling yourself to an alkaline dominant side, which is a hydration side, an anionic side, a side where there's more fluidity in the body. The tightness and stiffness is of the acid side of the body. So all these things that you experience is of the acid side of the body predominantly. There's alkalosis, of course, but by far, alkalosis is not the problem. It is majorly acidosis. If you treat alkalosis, you can be careful about killing yourself. You have to be careful about that. But acidosis is dehydration. So any food that is an acid ash food is a contributor to dehydration and acidosis, correct? Correct. And those foods initiate immune responses, inflammatory immune responses, from cholesterol to you name it. Calcium. The calcium buffering system is another good example, in my opinion, about the inflammatory process. Because when you're looking at the body's struggle to survive, and you look at the loss of, let's say, connective tissue, and you start to get varicose veins and spider veins, for a medical doctor to think that in any way would reflect alkalosis is just insane. That is, when you see the loss of calcium in structure or in matrix, it is the acid side of chemistry that's doing the drawing. And this would be aggressively true if you had a parathyroid weakness and you weren't utilizing calcium at all. then the loss of calcium could be abundant, where the skin sags all over. You've seen these people where they can take their skin and pull them way out here, all kinds of things. All kinds of connective tissue problems. And of course, that's herniations, that's it leads into aneurystic things. I mean, you just lead into a long doorway there. So it's all acidosis. So just put yourself on a living food diet that's energetic, and that brings that alkaline chemistry into your body, and your body will start hydrating and fixing itself, however slow or however fast you go. The speed of that is determined by the type of food you consume and your attitude. Your attitude can block you. You can do everything right and feel like you're getting nowhere because your attitude. Check your attitude at the door, I always say. Don't have one. Your attitudes bind you to your attitudes. Again, takes your freedom away. You get locked in these. And you see people that are stuck in these attitudes and you're going, damn, man. You don't want to be that one, because if no one wakes you up out of that, you could be in an attitude for quite some time, years. And no one ever, would you wake up out of that attitude, please? But that's what's going on. Wake up. Fun stuff, though. I thought maybe I would read a few of these questions that you have. I'm not going to timestamp this because I want to get this up for Christmas. And so forgive me for that. This will be the only one I do that, but I just want to get some of this up. Even though your questions seem to have a broken record to it in my response, understand why. That if you understand the great lymphatic system like no other, I was just privileged to be able to be the one to bring out the kidney filtration and that sort of thing with that. One of my life experiences. But we know, and it's more and more apparent as we begin to work with that system, we begin to work with the eliminative organs of that system and the endocrine glands that control that system. So you're looking at the glands, the organs, and of course all those tissues, pipes, and everything involved. So it doesn't matter what you suffer. It doesn't matter what your trauma is. You have a major car accident. What system in your body has to clean up the mess? And that's what I'm always saying. The reason you see so many people in comas that don't come out of them is the lymphatic system. There's so many people in comas that we could pull out. I could probably guesstimate 75% of people in coma we could pull out of that. I can just probably bet you that. It's just that there's no attention to that. There's no attention to elimination in these states. And elimination is vital in these states to remove acidosis. Or it's hard to get these states because you when you go into the medical world, you're throwing in antibiotics. First of all, that's the worst thing you could do. Because the worst thing you could do is kill the messengers. These people, you want bacterium when you have trauma and things because you have to have somebody, some process, clean up the damage. The rebuilding process is obvious. That's the kitchen side. But you can't rebuild an old torn down house until you remove and clean it up to the point you can get in there and rebuild it. Can't just go in and rebuild a house like that. I've flipped houses for years. And I got to tear out all the rotten stuff, tear out all the bad doors, all that kind of crap, clean it all out. Watch all these DIY network stuff. You got to clean it out and then rebuild it. And that's just what's going on. What's interesting is that nature's so powerful that in the process of cleansing, it'll still start rebuilding. Cool stuff. Generally, when we're doing it to a house, we have to strip it and then go in and do it. But the body, it moves itself right along. It's just so amazing. See that. And that's what you guys are. You guys are in there rebuilding the houses of people. You know, you're tearing out all the old stuff and you know how to tear it out. Your hammer is astringents. You know, your wrecking bar, your crowbars and all this, these are astringents. These are alkaline principles. These are hydrators. and astringents that are hydrating and astringing tissues, astringing these dormant, highly acidic, highly fungal areas. And in some cases, highly wormed up areas where your body's full of worms and fungus. To get rid of that, don't always focus on the fungus and stuff. Focus on their terrain. Focus on the sewage and the stuff that they're after. They'll come out with the wash. You got to have the proper focus, and your focus should always be in detoxification is the lymphatic system, which I don't know what other system it would be. Because that's the only system that seems to be engaged when you do that. When you just shift your diet to a living food diet, you're engaging the body into an anionic environment from a cationic environment, and there you begin to see the chemical magic that takes place. And these Dr. 12-day pimple popper things, God, this next season's going to be gross. Oh my, she had to do that too. She's pretty good. For to be that much years involved in learning, she's got a great fun attitude, you notice? But she had the 12 pops of Christmas. God, she got him in. She got him in. And that one guy with I call it the dragon's back, all the lipids. That one guy had a major lipid. She's pulling on those lipids. Imagine that much fat building up in the human body to have these great big lipid tumors, lipomas and stuff like that. It's wild stuff. And to think, when you see her cleaning some of these bigger tumors out, and the pocket around them out, and then you know that your body does that in detoxification, it's friggin' amazing. It's friggin' amazing. You know now what the body's doing and what it has to get rid of. What is the same stuff? And this next season, she's got some gnarly stuff, not just the white standard lymphatic stuff. She's got the green and the black coming. Whoa. I mean, this stuff can get extremely stinky, necrotic. I mean, this is proteins that's been in the body for a long time that hasn't got out. And a lot of this is metabolitic waste and things like this. Nasty. Sewage 101. But that is vital to learn. Man must learn this. She's playing a vital role in the education of her own people. Surgeons have to wake up. I've said this for years. Why doesn't surgeons just cut the tumors out, open them up and drain them, suck them out? You're my friend, ain't you? No, that's so bad. But it shows you how gnarly chemistry can get. And I am so proud of each and every one of you for trusting and taking off and getting your remedies. No matter how down you are, you don't let anything get your power back. Every one of you, get your power back for 2019. Grab it, because you're going to need it. And be strong, but be awake. Don't judge. Have humility, because you found truth where others have not. So know that you are the privileged ones. You guys have found the truth of life, the truth of God, the truth of health. And it's our turn to help others to find that truth as well. And end their suffering, There are those that don't want it and won't end their suffering and keep on going. Okay. Go ahead. But you don't want to pull yourselves down to those levels. Even if it's your own kin, your own family members, do not pull yourself down to these low levels where people are lost in their dharmas. That's the whole point, is not to learn. What is there to learn from that which is all? All things come out of it. So there's nothing to learn. It's to experience itself. Endless experiences. It's like now in my life, it's just about the taste of things. I'm not hungry ever, really. I just want to taste it. What's it taste like? What are you here for? Right? Exactly. All right. Let's see what we got here. Surin. Dr. Morse, you are a saint and genius. Oh, may God bless you. It's not enough how much I say I appreciate you. You have saved my life many times. Jesus Christ, man. Thanks. Thanks. Oh, what's all this? Well, this is a whole big thing here. Let's see what's going on here. It's important that we help each other, guys. That's what love's all about, isn't it? You put the heart into what that is about. Yeah. Remember, you're the most important thing in your journey. Don't let that be a selfish thing. You can give love as much as you want to anything, but don't follow that love. You don't want to give love out of the need to get something back out of it. That's personal love, and that's a rocky road to hell, Bill. You want to give love because your heart says, I'm happy because I found the truth. And here's a little bit for you, too. Oh, it's the same person. Hi, Dr. Morse. Oh. My mom is melanoma stage 4. Oh, crap, man. Well, these melanomas, they are forcing an immunotherapy drug which they claim inhibits cancer cells division. I just love that. And then, oops, it's like that lady that had cancer in the eye. And they said, well, we've got a new 3D radiation that'll pinpoint those cells and won't touch anything around them. She goes, I don't know. This is my eye, and I know what radiation can do. No. This is the latest stuff. So she came to me the year later, not only her eye full of cancer, but her whole brain was full of cancer from the radiation, and another oncologist, her surgeon, told her it was from the radiation. And so she was lied to, and this is what she had to put up with after that. What they did to her because of that lie, and she trusted them. So be careful. And I say that, with all life, be careful. Make sure it rings true in yourself. And then, you just follow that truth. And if it was wrong, then you follow another truth, but you've got to follow in that moment what your heart tells you. And sometimes you don't want to follow something, but you don't know of anything else. And that's the sad thing that the medical profession has done. They've tried to suppress, using the FDA and using state legislatures, suppress man's ability to use anything but them. Really is what their ultimate goal was. The typical World Bank Rockefeller syndrome. Okay, so melanoma stage 4. So we know that the skin is the largest eliminative organ of the human body, right? We know that it has been dubbed, even by the medical profession at times, as the body's third kidney. So it's the same thing, when you start to see skin, and you look at the iris, it's that outer skin around the eye again. It's that outer portion around the iris. That is an eliminative organ. And when it doesn't eliminate properly, and you're holding all these acids subcutaneously, that's when you see the eczema, the psoriasis, the pimples, the boils, all this crap. That's actually from the same side of chemistry. There's only 2 sides of chemistry, for God's sakes. So whatever compound or element you want to blame, there's only 2 sides. So which side is it on? Well, what's inflammatory? Not base as a rule. Maybe up at bleach or something, but no. Acids are inflammatory. Big time. Proteins are inflammatory, like it or not. And that's, that's what we deal with there. So, yeah, this new immunotherapy, what's funny about this immunotherapy? I just notice how now in America the medical doctors are just sucking this down. This is the latest stuff in oncology. The Contreras Clinic in Mexico has been doing immunotherapy like this for 30 years or more, maybe even more. To me, I don't want to speak for them, but for me and the people that I know go there, and I've sent people there, the success is minimal. Because you miss the point. It isn't about the cells that are being damaged. It's about that which is damaging the cells. Jesus criminy, man. You address the cells, it's too late for some of those cells. Okay, they'll get rebuilt, who cares? You got 100 trillion of them. It isn't about that. It's about the terrain. It's about that which is damaging one cell will damage them all. That's what it's about. So our side is at least aware enough to focus on that side, and that's why our success is so high. When you try to treat the cell, and they don't even try to save the cell, because chemotherapy and radiation goes ahead and kills not only any cell that's mutated, oh no, that's gone, all the others around it, and who knows how far out. And in chemotherapy, you're going to kill cells in your brain, in your lungs, in your heart, everywhere simultaneously, because you have a few cells that were damaged because your lymph system is stagnant where? So, you guys get that. These guys have got to get it. The amount of deaths and injury for allopathic stupidity is so high. I hope man looks at that someday and goes, OMG, what have we been doing to ourselves? And only you guys are going to be the ones to help, because you're aware of that. Awareness is everything. That's why getting above thought is everything, because when you're lost in thought, that's just what's wrong with allopathy. It's lost in its own narcissism. And as long as you're lost in your own narcissism, you don't go anywhere. And eventually all that landslide karma that's coming, wouldn't want to be there, it's coming at you. And you're wondering, well, why is all this happening to me? Because you weren't properly educated on cause and effect. You got to understand, for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. These are simple laws that's out there. Whatever religion talks about karma, whatever religious teaching or spiritual teaching talks about, you reap what you sow. Doesn't matter whether Jesus said it, Buddha said it, doesn't matter Enoch said it, doesn't matter who said it. It still means the same thing. My family accept that detox can work, but they want to prevent any quick metastasize happening. And that's the point, is that word is their little scapegoat. Metastasized cancer, that's their little scapegoat that says that this cancer has a consciousness and it's moving on you. It's coming after you. It's going to get you. Holy crap. That level of stupidity is unbecoming of such a highly educated modality, wouldn't you think? Because you can't damage the body and kill the body over a few damaged cells because you think it's something, a creepy crawly crud that's coming after you with a consciousness, and I'm gonna get you. Jesus Christ, guys. Look at the stupidity of that. And what you guys know now, look at the stupidity of the thinking of metastasis. Oh, your cancer's moved on you. Really? How about understanding interstitial constipation? Understand your new organ, the interstitial spaces, the spaces between the cells. Understand why they're there and what they're for, and what's the main fluid of those spaces. It's in the A&P books. It's called lymph fluid, isn't it? And they're in their lymph vessels. And don't we have pictures of the lymph vessels in a finger? So what we have is a few that understand some of it, and a whole bunch that don't understand any of it. That's exactly what you have in allopathy. But you guys understand the bulk of it, and that's pretty good. That's why you're able to help and save so many people. People get their skin cleared up and things like that. So your mom has to do the same thing. Get her on a grape diet for about 20 days. Get those kidneys opened up. Make sure her basal temperature under her arm is up around 98. That's going to be thyroid. The thyroid controls body temperatures, right? Through the rate of metabolism. So in checking that, you want to make sure that her basal temperatures are not cold, because it's hard to sweat when you're cold. And we need her to sweat. At the same time, clean up her liver gallbladder, get her on the skin formula, get her kidneys filtering. You got to filter the skin and filter the kidneys, right? The adrenal glands are a big part of that. Not only for the steroid and antacid factors that's kind of helpful, but also the opening of the door of the kidney matrix. So all these things are vital to go after theirs. It's too late. She can't, if she's already burning over, I mean, when you look at the lymph system, it's head to toe. you're going to see the worst burns in the genetically weakened area. So all you have to do is turn to their eyes to see where the next burn is going to be, where you're going to be able to tell it. It didn't move over there. Cells can't just pop out of tissue and go into another tissue and make another cell mutated because it was mutated. I mean, when you back that up, it's like, are you guys serious when you say that? Or this is a joke? Some of the things you're saying is impossible. That's why I did that video with Pat, who's a medical doctor, A&P professor, biochemistry professor. Hard to argue with someone like that. When you have credentials a mile long like that, it's kind of hard to argue with that because medical doctors go to her to learn. So kind of hard to argue with that. It's kind of hard to argue with truth, period, guys. Those that want to argue, talk to the hand, the face, and the listening. I'm having fun over here helping others. You have a problem? You have a problem. Not me. I'm happy with what I'm doing. You guys happy with what we're doing? I am. So you don't have to worry about the speed of metastasis because it's too late. She's already involved wherever she's involved. It could get deeper, but it's just that they haven't found that yet. It's just finding these as they get to the point bad enough to let you know it's there. And of course, the speed of chemotherapy and radiation speeds up the damage to tissue by far, and so these places just make them raise their little heads that much quicker. But you just put your mom on a fast detox and you'll be just quite fine with that. But to play that game with them because you're worried about quick metastasis that's a hype and isn't true at all. You can't. This isn't about training chemicals to attack different cells or cells attack. That's bullcrap. They're not even spiritual enough to be able to do anything like that or create anything like that. I'm sorry. It's a good way for companies' stocks to go up, though. You notice every time a company, if you watch this, a company will come out with a new immunotherapy drug or a new chemotherapy drug and their stocks just soar. The next thing you know, there was one recently, 2 years ago, claimed that. Their stock soared. Here a few months ago, someone reported on it and nothing ever happened. Typical, because wrong focus. When you're in the wrong focus, you're never going to find the answers because you're walking down the wrong road. So how can you find the correct answers when you're walking down the wrong road and the answers are not on that road? No, I don't know. So that's what I would do. And I would not, that's just my opinion. I have the freedom to have my opinions on this side, I suppose. But when it comes to pharmaceuticals, you put your life in your own hand. The pharmaceuticals of life is what the Creator created. It created all this. So the true pharmaceuticals is in nature. If you want to perfect herbs, then try a different method. Yolanda Evans. Hey, Yolanda, hello. I wanted to know if getting a PPD test is dangerous. I believe the serum implanted is not safe and cancer-causing. I am asking because it's required for employment. You know what's amazing to me? Is that some employers, and even in the nursing profession, some of this requiring vaccines and stuff, it's like, oh my God. Forcing you to put toxicity into the body to learn if you're toxic. Basically, because that's what it is. Anytime you see a disease symptom, it's just acidosis and toxicity, same thing. And if you clean that out, guess what? Your problem disappears. If it's a disease, it seems to go away. I guess it didn't like to stay there. Maybe it got in its car and drove away. I don't know. Also, I would like to thank you for the YouTube video. Oh, thanks, honey. I appreciate that. I try. Because free education is fun. I look at these, in Canada, these poor naturopaths that are paying $200,000 for their degrees and it doesn't give them an edge. Well, we're giving them an edge. What's your edge? Truth. How about that one? Now, Rebecca, how to kill squamoromyces cerebrale. Well, you can use the antiparasitic tentacles, like parasite M and G. Nobody likes wormwood, not even a decent 30-foot tape. But even a 12-inch round doesn't even rings, threads, even rings though. You talk about fungus and stuff like that. So when you get into these antifungals and anti-worms and all of this, they're strong. These are strong herbs. Anything that can kill anything can kill cells. If you're up there high enough in dosages. So. But remember the terrain. Remember that you're creating a terrain for these little babies to be in and to grow in. So detox takes care of those and the terrain. So you always use your parasite M and G going after things, but remember, get the kidneys filtered and go after the sewer. Does that sound like it's a word thing? Sewer, sewage, it sounds like bacteria and fungus and stuff. The sewer system in your body. So all you got to do is go after the lymphatic system. And all this stuff comes out. It's like spirochetes. If you buy into their thinking with that, suddenly you're, like with Lymes and things, you're done. You're done. I was really up there at Chips or One for him. He was giving a lecture one time on that. And it's like, I was getting depressed listening to it. I said, no, I was next after him. And I'm going, Willie, Jesus Christ, man. You got us all depressed. Now you get spirochetes intracellular and there's nothing you can do. And then the body's trapped. Bull crap. And who cares if that cell's tapped anyway? It's going to be terminated anyway. That's what macrophages are for. But never think that your body is in a position that you can never get it back. Because that attitude alone locks you away from truth. And locks you away into that experience. And don't accept anything. You're the most powerful thing around, consciousness-wise. So you can change or do anything you want to do. Karman Singh of the Kirpal Singh family. Sudar Singh, Darshan Singh. I saw Darshan Singh one time, that's a lot of years ago. He was over giving some talks on the Radha Swami Shabda Yoga, the yoga of light and sound. I think I would consider that probably the highest yoga system. Because if you don't recognize Sat Nam, guys, for you guys in the yoga systems, if you don't recognize Sat Nam, you haven't got there. You don't want anything below Sat Nam. Because that's the world of pure consciousness. Where it fools you is cosmic consciousness, or the fifth plane, what they call the fifth plane, and the actual fifth plane, the actual Sat Nam region. So I see a lot of talk, but the teachings when I read them doesn't reflect that. Even in the Sing or the Sat Nam level, there's a lot of talk of it, but those in the Radha Swami are the few that I see that work on trying to attain that nowness of consciousness, that singular awareness of consciousness, because that's the only way you can move into that. And get out of the worlds of creation is get out of the worlds of thought and the mind. You're getting out of the creator of creation. And if you can't use that to get out of it because that's something you're using. You have to go to the you that's using the mind. Well, how do you do that? You can't look at yourself. That's my point. You can't look at yourself and judge yourself because that's the mind looking at itself. Consciousness doesn't have the ability to see itself because it is itself. And only the now can supply that for you. Time gives you thought, action and differences and separation, and now you're outside viewing the action that comes out of consciousness. So, 18-year-old female, and Miss Singh. Wow, this is the right and left eye of my little sister. She's 18 and suffers from type 2 bipolar disorder, heart arrhythmia, mild asthma, and migraines. She eats primarily a standard Western diet with some healthy food once in a while. I recently discovered your channel and was fascinated by your videos. I was wondering if you could analyze her eyes so we can figure out the best way to help her with these conditions. Well, I can tell you right off, Carmen. First of all, you're going to go in a couple places. You're going to go into the adrenal glands, and you're going to go into her upstairs central nervous system. And trying to find a light, a real strong light, because these eyes are so dark. I need a bright light to be able to No flashlights around, huh? Because I like to show you guys what I'm looking at here. Let's see here. Still works. Yeah. Can you see what I'm up against? So, okay, so let me see what I can see on the left side here. The left side, she has a little chronic kidney weakness. She's got a rectal wall weakness and a vaginal wall weakness. The head of the bladder is chronic, but that's about all on that. I'm looking at the groin. Question of whether I'm looking at the hip here on the left side, or excuse me, I'm looking on the left ovary and a little of the pancreatic area. Okay, so you're saying she has heart arrhythmias. All right, so all down her descending bowel, under the left breast here, she's got a lot of weaknesses all along that descending colon. That's also where embryonically that her heart came manifested. There is a lesion, but this, I think this is below the heart. This is almost a feed to the left breast. Now there might be a little heart weakness in there, but I need far better pics than these. Far better pics, and maybe that they didn't take them off good enough. But where one of her big problems is chronic bowels. She's a major chronic bowels here. She got some fairly good genes on her back. Her upper neck is involved, her upper T-spine for sure, lower back. On her right side, she's a little tighter, a little healthier on the right side. Looking at maybe a little pancreatic, that would be pancreatic right ovary, or I'm in the gallbladder liver area. Hard to say with these eyes right now. I need to map it off. Got some prolapsing of the transverse bowel. Can't see up in the pituitary area. It's way too dark. Now, on the left side, we do have some radius solaris. Those are black radii up in the brain, and there is major pituitary here. Major pituitary animation lifeline. Man, it's going all the way back to a slight cerebellum hit. So, upper circuit brain and nerve is obvious. There's some, look at the growth factors and stuff because the pituitary is down. Look at the parathyroid. I would go into those things. Definitely go into the endocrine gland formulas, the adrenal formula separately, added onto that. You want the kidneys to filter because you're going to remove that which suppresses neurons or any neurological tissue, as well as any other tissue, heart or anything else. Generally, arrhythmias can be directed to several places. Either the gut, this is the center, the hub of this, and she's got chronic gut. So we could have a little bit of a gut problem here. But we also go into the adrenals. That's your neurotransmitters. Now, also the heart is what? 4 chambers, bunch of cells, 2 valves. So what do we have? We've got a bunch of cells and 2 fluids flowing through the heart. Right? So if our lymph system's backed up, it's backed up into the heart. How it affects the sinus node, how it affects the rhythms, whether it moves from the sinus, makes it an arrhythmia, or moves it into AFib or something like that. That's all about suppression and acidosis and things like this. So bipolar to me is generally adrenals and thyroid. But with that pituitary going, I'm going to have to say that the thyroid could be a victim of the pituitary. So I need better pics. You want a better focus, but get her on a fruit diet. I'll tell you right now, get her on a fruit diet. Whenever you're dealing in the neurological systems of the body, you don't play with vegetables. You go into the fruits. They're peaceful. They settle the nervous system down. They don't make you like this. They make you like this. The stronger your nervous system is, the more powerful, the more sedative. When your nervous system is like this, that's stimulative. That's acidic. That's acidosis. So, but when you're low in your thyroid, that's when you get in, and the parathyroid, excuse me, been detoxing. So, you get into her parathyroid, there's your calcium, there's the depression, there's that I don't love myself syndromes and all of that. Got a lot of work. I did see some weaknesses, I think, up in the C-spine. I would need better pics to confirm that. But you want to go after this. And you want to go after this very importantly. Go after the endocrine glands, go after the pituitary, the adrenals, the thyroid. Check the basal temperatures under her arm. You're headed up to 98. Get her sweating. Get the kidneys to filter. Get the adrenals up so her emotional stability is strong, and she gets stronger emotionally. Get her parathyroid up where she's utilizing calcium, and her depression, she starts smiling and happy and loves herself again. That's where you're going with this. That's where you need to go with this. So, sweetheart, let her hear that, and let's see how she can go on this. See what we can do with her. Okay. That upper circumbranial nerve is incredible, all I got to tell you. But remember, endocrine glands involvement. So there's the adrenals, the pituitary, the parathyroid, thyroid. Also, you want to check go after the GI tract, because again, the gut. And we got some chronic gut issues here, particularly on this. Her right side looks a lot stronger genetically than her left side. That left side is the weaker side there, I believe. Dear Dr. Morse and team, first of all, thank you for your time and videos and for the love you are sharing. Thank you so much. We try. I apologize, I've been so friggin' busy, but so many things going on. But you have been a true revelation. Oh, thanks. You know what? Truth is fun. You guys got to admit it. Truth is fun, because you can get yourself feeling good, and you can get others feeling good, your mate feeling good. You're just a different level of interacting, a different level of freedom and joy, one that's more self-enjoyed instead of codependently enjoyed. You don't love someone because you need the codependence. You love them because they're cool. Oh, I love you. You're cool, man. You're pretty neat. Yeah, that's why you want to love somebody. I need you, man. I'll tell you, I'm lonely. I need you. I need something to fill this void, and I just... That never works out good. I am now back to school to study naturopathy, and I am planning to attend your course next year. Yeah. I would love... it's coming, but it'll... it's a bit to set up the school. So what we're doing is setting up this online. It'll be a little deeper class, similar to you coming in person, but you won't have to bear the expense of coming in person. You'll do it online. I plan to expand that deeper, so it'll be a little deeper involvement. It'll be a stepping stone to the naturopathic school. But my goal is the same. You walk out of our school, I want you to be able to sit down in a chair and explain to someone what their trouble is, no matter what their condition is. Sit there and explain to them what their trouble is and help them through it. When you graduate from any naturopathic school, that's what you need to be able to do. You hand over a school $200,000. You better make sure that dean of that school can give you the tools to help someone get well. If they can't, want my money back. You're supposed to teach me how to get people well. I don't know how to get anybody well. Of course, the school doesn't either. That's the problem. They can't teach what they don't know, guys. And particularly Bastyr Southwest, you're not going to get anything out of there about the lymph system and what you need to cure and stuff like that. These people are lost in the medical thinking. The naturopaths of California and stuff, they're a whole different breed, brother. You guys got to wake up and change your ways of thinking. If you don't want to become part of the problem, and then you're in our field, and that's what you are. When you recommend a high-protein diet to anyone, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. And I don't care who you are as a naturopath. You just don't know you don't know what's up. You don't know chemistry. You don't know what's going on with the body. You don't know why man suffers. And so don't be out there putting your chest out there when you don't know anything. It's an illusionary narcissism. My son has dermatographism. Dermatographism. I know, thanks to your videos, that it might be an immune system reaction. Yeah. Whenever you see anything with the skin and that sort of thing, you know it's acidosis. Because anytime you see a response by the body, what are you doing? I'm ingesting chemistry. That's what your life is physically. Besides driving you around to places, your physical body is a food processor. So whatever chemistries you're processing, that's what you're seeing the effect of. Either health or Hellville. So you're either going to Wellville with your ingestion of chemistry, you're interfacing with this world, or you're going to Hellville. Most people are going to Hellville, wouldn't you? And then all of you guys changing your diets, now you're going to Wellville. It's like, oh. So For man to assume that these are something outside of general chemistry and physics is amazing to me, because there's nothing outside of that. Everything works according to plan. So does microorganisms. Sorry, they're all in the plan as well. It's just that when you don't understand the plan and you're part of the problem, like the allopathic community, that's a problem. The amount of deaths and maiming of the humans of this modality is unreal. For what reason? Unawareness. But that's the nature of this place anyway. Yeah, could you tell me more, please? Well, remember what you're scanning. We just talked about, funny how these things kind of move together, but we just talked about the largest eliminative organ of the human body. And it doesn't matter what name they tag to that and what the response is, because when you start to see acidosis, you're going to get everything from trick fingers to psoriasis to eczema to the chemo burn. I mean, if you want to see what acids do, look at it. Google chemotherapy burns. Take a look. Now, before those of you that were considering chemotherapy, Google chemotherapy burns topically and realize the same thing is going to happen inside of you. You don't have any greater inside protection, because the protection you have inside cannot begin to stop chemotherapy. Because most people that are on chemotherapy are already in trouble in the acidic zone. You're already highly acidic. So you're already in major trouble. Then to step up and be juiced with more acids, these guys need to go to jail. I've said this before. Anybody that gives someone chemo is giving Drano. When is our law enforcement going to start arresting these oncologists for doing this? Because somebody said that maybe someone might survive it, like 6% to 10%. Maybe in Brinsky up to 20%. I'll take 90 over 20 or 80 over 20. I am 100% convinced, and applying a full fruit veggie diet for me, raw as much as possible. And go right on into it. Right after Christmas, just jump right into a 10-day grape diet. 10 days, that ain't nothing. 10-day grape diet. I'm 100% applying it possible, but my husband is too addicted to meat and dairy. Well, you know what? Let him eat his meat and dairy, although you have to kind of touch it and interface with it. But let him go ahead. But remember, don't love your hubby for codependencies. That individual soul's on its own journey, and it's on its journey to Hellville, and it's just, that soul's taking it there. It likes what it's doing. It's not hurt enough to go, I'll change. Sometimes you got to hurt real bad to make that. And that's why you see that. You know it in your own life. Sometimes you don't make a change unless you get your butt kicked. And your spiritual guide sometimes is one of the ones that helps kick your butt. He also refuses that our son eat this way at 100%, and we cannot impose a diet at his daycare. You know, that's sad stuff, that you can't impose a healthy diet at daycare. You know, you're paying daycare. So if I'm paying daycare, which I did raising my stepson, I'm going to have them the way I want. Or find a Montessori school where their teaching's a little more elevated, their diets are, and they'll listen to you more. But the old hubby, you know, it's just sad to see what we have there in mates, where one becomes awake and one remains unconscious. And sometimes these relationships fall apart. Don't be surprised. I'm not saying that's the case, but sometimes when a mate holds you down and can't grow, there's only one solution to that, is don't keep yourself down. You know? Understand that you're a free being. You came here alone on a journey. Get with yourself and love yourself. Spend time alone to where you're not afraid to be alone. That way you can give love to people. You've got your own love and sukkah. You don't need anything. When you don't need anything, that's when you can give the most and be a part of the whole of God, because you already have it all. And there's only one way to have it all, and it's not through the mind. Thought can't have totality. Sometimes dinner or fruit too, because my son is now addicted to fresh fruit. Yeah, yeah. One victory for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. Go for it, Mom. Help me convince my husband that it is the only way to cure my son's dermatographism. Well, if your husband's watching this, man, you got to get with this. We save kids all around the world. Matter of fact, it was kind of my fault. You're about to see one incredible video when Marcy comes back. I thought we were going to film it Wednesday, but it was Tuesday, and the mother's given her consent. Now, I'm going to cry when I think of that one. Wee. This is the most amazing story. It's amazing. You ever see these little kids that have little arms about this big and a big torso? You're about to see one of those go through change. Oh, that gets me. That mother, I'm so proud of her. We'll be talking about it, and you'll be able to see the child and what this mother did to her baby. And when the medical doctors told her that a raw diet would kill her baby, and she stood tall, even through the first phase where you always lose weight, and this child was already emaciated. Wait till you see this video, guys. If that doesn't convince your husband, I don't know, then he's lost, and let him be lost for a while. Because it's time you men get your warriors on and learn and quit getting this meat and potato consciousness stuck here where you don't understand truth. It's not about what you enjoy, it's about the effect of these foods on your body. And you know, you can go along thinking nothing is affecting you, you're above that, and then wham! You know, it's like that beautiful bodybuilder. So beautiful. He was handsome, still is, but doesn't have a colon left. And a life without a colon isn't fun with bags and stuff. And the guy's in his 20s. So, you got to be real smart today because genetic weaknesses of tissue, of cells are at the all-time high. The lymph systems are in the chronic levels in a lot of cases. Babies are coming out with tumors. You can't have that, guys, and not have a beautiful world and everybody be happy in it. So, everybody needs to wake up and realize that our world is going toward Hellville. And you can turn it around. Look at all the people we've turned around to Wellville and all the beautiful cures out there of all these conditions. Where do you see this baby? This is not a baby. He's 8 years old, but you wouldn't know it to look at him. He looks like he's 4 years old, but he's actually 8 years old. You wouldn't believe this pictures. Damn. So, when you see that, my dear husband one, maybe you'll be convinced of what you can actually do at this level of regeneration. But it's understanding chemistry and physics and why the body degenerates and the vitalness. Because this is not just a skin problem. This is what can happen in advanced skin cases. And look at all the other. Remember, when the skin is interstitially involved, so is all your other interstitial spaces, head to toe. That's what's the seriousness of this. And now that it's so much in the neck and head, the brain cancers, the neck cancers, holy crap. So you want to see the effect of allopathy on throat cancers? Take a look. You'll see someone walking around with half their neck gone, if they survive it. That's not to mention there's no saliva anymore. I mean, it can go on and on and on. To Hellville. You want to live there because you have fear? Is that what it is? Or your unconsciousness and you're afraid to change? Never be afraid to grow and to give up those things you believe that are not true. Don't ever be afraid of that. Help me convince my husband. Absolutely. I am deeply thankful for the information you are sharing, and I hope to be able to cure and help other people soon. Go for it, my dear one. Go. Oh, this is Canada even. Go for it. We've got so many YouTubers out there curing people up like nobody's business. I mean, you guys are sending me cases, and people are calling in and writing in about their wins. It's like, we're doing it. Hey, Rob, that's the name of my son. My son is 50 years old. Ooh. Well, I guess I had him when I was 18. Kinda. I didn't have him, thank God. Ow. Hi, Dr. Morse. Hi, Rob. I somehow come across your videos and was instantly interested after I heard through talk of spirituality. The health is great, but the spirit is what I'm interested in. Yeah, how about that, buddy? Yeah. The physical body is okay. All right. And it's the least beautiful body of them all. The least. And it can get pretty gnarly. So, becoming awake is the key, particularly in these times. You know, if you want to turn things around, you have to wake up. Because in that, you're a greater channel for things you don't realize you're channeling. Now, Marcy's starting to visit you guys out of body. And so, you know, the greater you channel, I'm just saying, the greater they use you. I'm just saying. After hearing your YouTube materials, I began a fruit diet, though I had no health issues, and have been doing so for a month. My greatest hunger is for more of self-God awareness, and really desire to soul travel for a few different reasons. So my question is, can you please point me in the right direction? You're the direction I'm going to point you into. The direction is no direction. You don't want to have a direction. You simply want to exist in the present moment of beingness. That is a state of observation. When you can break that, simple razor's edge between thought and observation, you've made it. Especially if you can hold it, because you'll be tested to hold it. You'll be pulled into conversations. You'll be pulled into those whirls of your dharma, of thought, of what you created. Can you sustain consciousness? Then from that point, that's God conscious. That's almost the self-realized state. The self-realized state sometimes has been dubbed cosmic consciousness. And I was saying that earlier about mental consciousness. I've had that experience several times. There's no words to cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness. You cannot define that. The ecstasy and joy is beyond description. But it lacks. If you've been trained in pure consciousness, it lacks. It still has the etheric in it. Cosmic consciousness still has the etheric, the individualized self in it, even though that is seen to be one with all individualized self, whether it's plant, animal, or mineral, or other homos, sapiens, or whoever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the embodiment. It doesn't matter. So when you're pulled into that, when you are into that state of consciousness, it now becomes, and an old friend of mine, she's really into this, is how now can you be? How now? How much in the state of observation can you be? Because the more you're in the state of observation, the higher and the more expanded you get. There's no travel, my dear one, in this one. There's no travel. I had to break my soul travel consciousness because I thought travel was the way you get there. Out of body, you're traveling to heaven. My Father's mansion, there are many rooms, the Jesus scenario, Buddha, and the different levels of consciousness. So I thought out of body traveling is how you get to the heavens. And it is, but it's not out of body traveling like you think it is. You're just simply moving your attention from one body and withdrawing it into another. Because you can't be outside of the bodies in these worlds. Can't do it. That's why you need a body to be in these worlds. As soon as you lose your body, you're in the next one up, or you've been able to understand and you're now in pure consciousness, which is God consciousness. And there's a lot of levels to God consciousness. And those are the worlds of beingness, of nowness, of allness. The infinite, the omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. All of that is in consciousness. There is a distinct difference, and Christians need to learn this, is a distinct difference between that and creation and life. And you have to understand when the Bible's talking about creation and when it's talking about consciousness or the true heavens. There's a lot of heavens, but who's playing in the heavens? Who's experiencing the heavens? That's the God consciousness. Self-realization is simply when you become awake of the self. And that really starts, as I said, in cosmic consciousness. It's a deep state of intense aloneness. You're not going to achieve it with your buddies and friends around you. You're going to attain this when you're in the deepest, darkest time of your aloneness. Whether you choose to go into your bedroom, into a closet, into the woods, into a Volkswagen camper van. Doesn't matter. It's simply you deciding not to play the game anymore. It's simply you deciding to wake up and quit identifying with your lower selves. Become infinite. You'll still have your bodies, and they're still finite, but you are infinite. That is true God consciousness, because you have now merged back home again, as a prophetic way of saying it. And that's as simple as it is. If you make the journey of awakening complex, then the journey back to God is a mysterious journey of awakening and growth. And God conscious state is that. The razor's edge between thought and observation. Observation is a state of awareness. So play with that. Have fun with that, Rob. It's that. Don't get caught up in making it complex. Use Fubi Quants if you're that engaged, because he is. Be prepared, but he's the one, if you want to know that bad. But prepared to be ripped a little bit, because he is a ripper. And but you'll get where you want. Love you, man. I love the spiritual side of things too, because without you and consciousness, you don't have the other anyway. So, Dylan. My name is Dylan. I am 19 years old. 19 years young, my dear one. I have been listening to you for over a year. Wow. Despite the fact that I do not have any health problems. Get a picture of the eyes, my dear man. Get a picture of your eyes and see what's coming and go after those things, so you'll never have to experience despair and unhappiness and suffering, you know. Like you, I believe in the power of herbs, and I was wondering if taking your herbs would work just as well as a preventative health measure for a healthy person like myself. Oh, you betcha. Oh yeah, you want to go into that. You know, the mistake is at 19 thinking you are healthy because you don't feel any problems. You cannot be 19 in today's world and not have genetic weaknesses. That would be if you are, somebody needs to give you $1 million and take your genes and go, hey, this guy, we need these genes here. Now, you want to look at where your weaknesses are and go after them, because the interesting thing is sometimes you don't feel anything, everything's good, and whack, it gets you, right? So just be aware of that. I'd go on a diet, because if you're that way now, because this is the way I was. I didn't have any health problems. I was a little overweight, but that I knew of. Of course, my family had kidneys, adrenal, but I wasn't thinking of anything like that, of course. And so I really had an incredible experience moving into this. And so I don't see why everybody can't have an incredible experiences. When you combine the spiritual, the letting go, the I don't want to use the word seeking, but that inner pull, and you mix that with the living fruit diet, pring, you're on your rocket ship, baby. Matter of fact, warning, balance, grounding. That might be the new words of the next year for some of you. Balance, grounding. Whew. Absolutely. Especially if you're 19 and you're planning on having children. And if you have a good woman, talk to her and see if she'll be up to that too, and getting all the genetic weaknesses healthy and back in line again. And man, we got some superhumans coming, and some of you parents are doing such a fabulous job raising your children, and the children are learning. It's just, then we have books out here on children learning. It's just amazing. It's a beautiful thing to see. Hey, Sammy. Healthy, gaining weight. Yeah, I'm 20 years old and love your videos. Currently going through your certification program. Yep. Hopefully we can meet one day. Yep. I've suffered from being extremely skinny my whole life. Yep. Yeah, when you see this picture of this kid, guys, gonna bring tears to your eyes, say the least. But this mother had the power of knowingness enough to ride that skinny thing through an already skinny condition, and now her son is putting on. You have to fix malabsorption, honey. You have to fix the lymphatic system. It goes back to that damn lymphatic system again. You fix that, and you have absorption. You can put on weight. I remember a mother brought her 16-year-old daughter in one day to see me, and she was tall and really skinny. And her mother said, my daughter has a fungal problem, and I want you to clean the fungus out of her. Well, you know me, I looked at the daughter and I looked at the mother and I said, well, Mom, your daughter has a far greater problem than fungus. And her mother was looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I said, you see how skinny she is? And her daughter took off crying, brother. Woo-wee. She just started crying. I said, eat all you want, don't you? She said, yeah. I said, you're malabsorbed, sweetheart. She's now a model. She now went into modeling. And she started gaining weight, filled out, beautiful. You have to fix the problems. And if practitioners don't understand the problems, then it's time that we teach them, isn't it? We teach them what the lymph system's about, what those interstitial spaces can create when they're blocked and constipated, and what you can do to get well. So no matter, again, I say this, and I want you to see this. We're going to show you some pictures, and I think you'll be highly impressed. Sorry. But these are tearjerker cases. My God. When you see a kid like that, it's like, and because I've always wanted to work, I always told you these children can be helped. But I've just needed the children. And now we have a mother with a set of cojones like this. And despite the medical doctors warning that it would kill, raw food is going to kill you. Oh my God. That medical doctor needs to surrender his license and go play in the fields of dreams somewhere. You're a worthless cause. That's a sad thing right there, buddy. But the child now is looking good. The weight's coming on. Things are, all the different seizures are out. I mean, all the different things. Yeah, seizures. Oh. But, yeah. So, you got to understand that you could get a little skinnier doing the fruit thing and getting this system under control. But there's the door after. It's the car after the body shop is done and the garage door opens and here's your new car. It's all fixed. But while it's in the body shop, you're not going to have that. You're going to go, oh, my car. You said in the paint. It's you got to get with that because that's the truth of detox. Now, I want to get this detox page. Why do we detox? And look at the stuff that's coming out of you guys. Holy my God. The stuff a year later looks like little alien beings. God. I mean, and it wasn't until several months ago that I discovered it was due to the massive amounts of milk I drank as a child. I did too. I drank massive amounts of milk, mine too, and that's why my lymph system's up. Well, I got a lot of mucus, which caused constant stomach inflammation and made me lose my appetite. It wasn't just that, my dear one. That milk also is very mucus forming, and the mucus fills interstitial spaces like a lungs, sinus. That's what milk is. These are but what is it that's causing that out of the milk? Proteins, dairy proteins. Some are foreign proteins to the Homo sapien, guys. You want to drink milk, go get monkey milk. Good luck. Gonna be a tough get. A cow has a gentle obese. So is a mama group. Yeah, she doesn't like to be messed with that way, I wouldn't think. Whew. I'm now in the process of detoxing, but how should I go about gaining weight healthily? 95 pounds, 5'5". Whoa, Sammy. Whoa, 5'5", Sammy? We've got another little problem, don't we, guys? What's Sammy's little problem here? Little Sammy. Yeah, 5'5". That's pituitary. So, honey, you want to think about your pituitary gland because you want to look at this. It can affect your ability to conceive children. It can affect your monthly cycles and have irregular cycles, heavy bleeding, clotting. This can affect your parathyroid and not utilization of calcium. It can shut down your thyroid where you get cold. All the depressions, the bruising easy, the varicose veins, spider veins, all these things can start happening to you. Adrenals down, anxiety, shortness of breath. All your breathing problems like asthma, that's all neurological. That's the adrenal glands. All these things start coming up on you. Yeah. So you want to go after this. You don't want to think about the weight. You want to think about health. Change your focus. Your focus is to focus on health, not your problem. To remember, if you focus, let's say that you were diagnosed with cancer. Now you're focusing on cancer. You know the energy you're giving that word? Because you guys are powerful souls. So when you put your attention on something, you're putting the power of God on something. So when you put your power on some disease bullshit that doesn't exist, you're putting all your power on that. So that's what you're seeing. Withdraw your power to the idiocy of that and put your power on truth. Awaken yourself to the truth of life and plug yourself in and you'll get yourself well. You'll get the tumors out and you won't have any problems the rest of your life and you'll have a happy, fun time. And all the people, the proof is already on our site. By the tens of thousands, by the way. But I've had 50 years of thousands of people anyway. So fun stuff. Focus on getting healthy. Focus on getting your kidneys to filter and the lymph system moving. And then you'll start gaining. And it won't be fat. It'll be muscle. Because you can put fat on. Sometimes some of you can't even do that. You know? And you don't want it that way. You don't want to put fat on that way. And you don't want to put muscle on with protein that way. Not when you're already highly malabsorbed. Or you'll tend yourself into serious gastric problems from throwing yourself into Crohn's or something like that. You want to be very careful about what you put down when you're malabsorbed, because you already have inflammation interstitially in the GI tract wall. You want to back away from that. And the only way to back away is to hydrate and get the kidneys to filter, so you have an out for this sewage. Get your skin to sweat. Get your doors open, because this is sewage stagnant. And what side of chemistry does sewage fall on predominantly? Acid. And you see the effect of it. From the removal of calcium and all the things, you see the effect of that. It's in their face, and yet their mind won't let them see truth, because they were conditioned themselves to believe in disease as something that has no bona fide reality to it. See how your mind can block you from truth? Get out of thought. So, Sammy, go after detox aggressively. I don't care how skinny you see yourself, and then you'll start putting away. Look at Ian's story. Muscle building Ian. He got real skinny. He's putting it on now. But you want to fix your problem because of the nature of the problem. What happens when you have that interstitial lymphatic constipation in the gut wall? So what you have is the waste from your cells collecting around the cell interstitially, because that interstitial fluid, the lymph fluid, can't move to the lymph nodes and to the kidneys because of stagnation. The lymph nodes are swollen. The kidneys have literally backed everything up to the cell. That's just what it is. And that's all it is. It just backs the sewage all the way up to the cell. Now you have the word inflammation. You can have an inflammatory response from the types you eat. But this is now inflammation. This is now acidosis. In acidosis, what takes place? Drying, swelling, and atrophy, decay, burning. And that's just what you see. Right through a cycle of acute, subacute, chronic, and then degenerative. So you have IBS in some of your minor acute, subacute, where you can have Crohn's in your chronic. And then, of course, the deterioration of the cell in the degenerative. Doesn't mean your whole bowel's degenerative. It means that area is. All right? Clean the cause of it out and rebuild the cells. That's what your body will do if you have the right chemistry going in. If you think you're going to get well eating the same chemistry and consuming the same chemistry that got you here, you're fooling yourself. You're lying to yourself, and you bought into some idiocy that just is hurting so many people. So, get out of that. Have some fun with this. All right, this is Logan. Dr. Morse, I stumbled across this article on the RT News site after recovering from the initial extreme nausea. I thought you might find it interesting. I cured my own arthritis, acid reflux, enlarged prostate, and high blood pressure with diet and herbs. Yeah, baby. This is Logan, baby, guys. This guy kicked butt. Someone needs to counter this propaganda, and there's no one better suited to do that than you. God bless and carry on. You see what I'm saying? Let's see what Logan came up with here. There's so much bad propaganda, isn't there? Where does this shit, pardon me kids, where does this stuff come from? Just lies, 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 lies. Where does this come from? Alternative medicine doubles risk of cancer patients dying. Study. Holy Lord. Holy Lord. You know, they need to take this. Where's this last study? I don't know if I have it on my desk here. If I done, it's buried. Well, I've got it probably in my truck, but yeah, this is someone sent me. No, Val put it together because we're doing a lot of interesting things. preparing for a big fight with the FDA. I am. And I'm going to prepare really good. But this is called These 7 Shocking FDA Mistakes, Including Dangerous Prescription Drugs That Cost Thousands Upon Thousands of Lives. And they're still in business. Anybody go to jail for murder? As soon as we start arresting some FDA people for manslaughter, because indirectly they're responsible, indirectly, they're a consumer protection agency. Oh, did I say consumer protection agency? A consumer harassment agency. Totally bought and paid for. I wish Trump would do something about that particular group. Send it on its way and get somebody in there with some consciousness. You know, I find this sort of thing, like you, Logan, very sickening. And all I know is people have to see through that. Because this is just alternative medicine. See, so who are they talking about? I don't know who they're talking about. They're not talking about us. See, that's what you don't understand, Logan. That's what people who read that article don't understand. They're not talking about us. We're not alternative medicine. We have nothing to do with medicine. Period. End of story. Whether people try to get us into that or not, we're nothing about medicinos. We have nothing to do with that. And we're not alternative. We are the God people. We are the natural health people. If we have, in context, if you want to say medical, we're the natural. Medical being synthetic and chemical, and natural being botanical and detoxing. That's our field. And when you come into our field, we're going to start biting you. Particularly with the FDA like they're doing, no. We're going to have to start sending out our lessons. You know, it's just the same way you see what's going on, the difference between the two parties, night and day. But we're not alternative medicine. Don't ever let anybody tell you we're alternative to anybody. We're not alternative to anybody. God created this whole place. They're alternative to the reality of life. That's why this came out and said the FDA is responsible for killing, indirectly, for killing of tens of thousands. Well, I have news for you. It's not tens of thousands of people. It's millions. It's not tens of thousands. Hell no, it's millions the FDA is responsible for, indirectly, for killing. I'm telling you, people are not awake at this level, and the killing machine that's going on, even by the own government agencies, they're allowing this crap. So you have an agency run by unconscious people dealing with unconscious people dealing with unconscious people. We are not an alternative whatsoever. We are nature. We are the science of nature. Naturopathy is the science of nature. There are 2 major sciences of nature that naturopathy encompasses. Physics, which is the main science of life because it deals with consciousness, or it will in time. Quantum already is moving there, but it deals with magnetics, it deals with energetics, it deals with electromagnetic energies. Chemistry is only frequencies of that. So chemistry is the inferior science, but chemistry is right in everybody's face because it's hard to understand energy and consciousness when you can't see it or touch it. But you can feel it. Just let me take you to an electrical panel. I just put 2 new 200 amp electrical panels on my house. Let me just get you up there and let you touch a couple little spots in that panel for you. Now you can feel energy. Right? You can't see it. Well, you can see it at times. Granted, some arcs, you can really see some good arcs. But, and you see it at the lights and the northern light. You see energy in places, but chemistry is more of a feeling side of science. And naturopathy is total chemistry. And physics in their interactive senses in nature. You only have to look at nature. And so the problem is that schools and the allopathy and the pharmaceuticals and the world bankers, I mean the Rockefellers, all this is just a major, if you look, it's kind of like law. and the bar, and those law schools that are bar representative, and the curriculums that you study in these particular bar recognized and owned sometimes schools, I'm going to tell you, everything is so fixed, and this is true medically. For someone to be a medical doctor and not understand basic truths, pretty scary, isn't it? And articles like this is bull crap. This comes out, this bull crap's hardly even worth reading because it's so untrue. You know, they made this mistake once before. They made it with Dr. Berinsky. The FDA blamed Dr. Berinsky and went after him. Remember that? So, the doc's wealthy, so he just did some studies. And his studies blew them away because where oncology had maybe a 4 to 10% cure rate, wow, I don't even want to use that word because it's not a cure rate. Berinsky had up to 20% using the neoplasm therapies and stuff like that. Well, the FDA couldn't say shit then because the studies showed that he was better than oncology. What are you going to say now? Well, I can't wait till we show you some of our statistics. Yeah. Matter of fact, I've offered this up. I've offered this up to oncologists. But I want Fox News present. I don't trust any other news. I want Fox News present. And I'll show you what we can do with 100,000. Give me 1,000 cancer clients of all levels. And let's show them our percentages. And you can show them. You don't have to even look up old ones. Let's just do them on new ones. You want to take that offer, FDA? You want to take that offer up? It's going to be broadcast. Let's take that offer up. And we'll expose some truths you probably don't want the world to know about. So this kind of crap here, you know what, it makes me sick. You know, cancer patients who choose to treat their disease with alternative medicine are more than twice as likely to die than those who turn to conventional treatments, according to a new study. Right. You know where this goes? Trash can. Because there's too many studies showing the other way. You know, it's just more propaganda bullshit. You know, 60 Minutes did a study on double-blind studies. They did a study. They did a show on double-blind studies. And this goes back a lot of years. I don't know if you can Google it or not, but pretty much put a slammer on that one. They were really ruthless on double-blind studies. I love you guys. It's time I have to go, and I love you guys. I want you to have fun Christmas or holidays, whatever you want to call these times. Enjoy the beautiful light shows. That's what I like about it all, is the beautiful light shows and everybody's happiness, and take the time to give a gift to somebody. I think a hug will do. Maybe a hug and kiss even. But have some fun. If you got to cheat, you got to cheat. Enjoy your cheat. Don't wrestle your cheat. And then turn around and get back on the program. Get yourself well and happy. For those that have very serious issues and you're hanging, don't cheat. Not worth it. You'll cheat later. Get your job done. Get in there, just like any mission. You know that if you've been there, get in, get out. You know, get in, get it done, get out. So that's just what we're doing. And then you'll have a whole new life and you'll feel good. For those that love this level, it's an incredible spiritual awakening level, guys. I'm here to tell you. And there's plenty of spiritual beings here to help you. Love you guys. Merry Christmas to you all. And to all higher consciousness.